Hello everyone, welcome to my reading wrap up for March, and I did get through 6 books. So I'll start with the first book I finished in March, and it was The Butcher Bird by S.D. Sykes, and this is the second book in the Summerhill Manor mystery. So this takes place in the early 1350s. The plague has absolutely decimated the population of England. About a third of the population passed away. So England is trying to basically recover, and the main character is named Oswald, and he is the third son of a lord of the manor of Summerhill. And he was not expected to inherit anything. He had 2 older brothers, so he was sent to a monastery when he was a young boy to become a priest. Well, his father and 2 older brothers passed away, so all of a sudden at the age of 17 he's in this monastery and he's told that you're now lord of the manor because your father and 2 older brothers have passed away. So he goes back to the manor, and yeah, there's murder mystery involved. You learn a little bit about history, about how England was trying to recover from the plague with like a third of the population gone. And I love the characters. They're very, very interesting characters in here. And yeah, I really, really enjoy this series. So again, there's a murder mystery in this particular story. There's a lot of social changes after the plague, because basically a third of the population passed away. There was a shortage of workers, so they had more say in how they were paid and treated by the lords and that sort of thing. So that's quite a fascinating part of reading this also. So it's a bit of a murder mystery, it's a history lesson, and yeah, I think there's maybe 2 or 3 other books in this series that I did purchase. I really do like this series, so I enjoyed that one very much. This is Road of Bones by Christopher Golden. So the main character in this is a documentary filmmaker, and he goes to Siberia, and there is this particular road which they kind of nicknamed Road of Bones, and it's the actual Kolyma highway, and it's about 1,200 miles long in Siberia. And he's heard a lot of like ghost stories about this particular road, because it was basically built in the, I think it was the 30s, I believe. Stalin, at the time, the dictator, had basically murdered millions of his own people, and he sent many of these people to gulags, or prisons in Siberia. And they were basically, when you're sent to one of these gulags, the chances of you going home were pretty slim to nil, and many, many people died of abuse and just the conditions while they're building the road. And while they're building the road, if someone died, they just basically built the road over them. So that's why it's called Road of Bones. So he goes up there as a filmmaker, and he wants to interview people and film things because there's a lot of ghost stories and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's not too long after he arrives that things start going very, very wrong. It's very, very atmospheric. It's very spooky. So yeah, I did enjoy it. I would probably give it like a 3.75 stars. Yeah, I thought it was just a fun, creepy little read for the a snowy day. And this is The Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Oh, 2 seconds. Okay, just wanted to grab another book. So The Ninth House, I've had this on my TBR for quite a while, and then I kept seeing on BookTube everyone losing themselves over Hellbent, which is the sequel to Ninth House. And usually on BookTube I've seen a lot of these covers with the silver background, and then this is an Indigo exclusive here in Canada, and they had the red background, so I thought, oh, I love the red background. think this is just an amazing, amazing cover. So I thought, okay, I really need to read this Ninth House, which is a dark academia novel that takes place at Yale University, and there are these 8 secret societies, and they have magical powers, and the Ninth House kind of supervises and makes sure these other 8 societies behave themselves. And yeah, I just thought it was really, really good. I did like Alex, the main character, and it was interesting to read about all these each society and what kind of powers that they do have. It's very, very dark. There's a lot of trigger warnings that you might have to read up on before you start this. But I really, really enjoyed it. I give like a 4.5 stars. I really did enjoy it. And yeah, so I'm really looking forward to the sequel, which is quite chunky. And then this is by Laura Purcell. Now, this is the first book that I read of hers, but I really want to read some more. She's very good at, I guess, Victorian Gothic novels, which I just love. And this is called The Poison Thread. So there's 2 main characters. There's Dorothea, who's very wealthy, from a very wealthy family, and she visits Ruth, who is in prison for murder, and she's, I think, 16 at the time. And so Dorothea goes to prison to give kind of emotional support to the prisoners, and she starts talking with Ruth, and she hears Ruth's story about about her entire life, from a young child till she was arrested for murder. And yeah, it's just it's a slow-paced novel, but there's like a psychological tension throughout. It's very interesting story about Ruth and how she thinks she has killed people. And I won't say anything more. It's just a very fascinating psychological kind of turn that's very interesting to read about, but is very atmospheric. The characters are fascinating. I just ate this up. I gave it a 5 star. I really enjoyed this. So I did previously grab some books from Book Outlet from her. So I think there's one more that I want to grab, but she does Victorian Gothic so well. So I did get The Silent Companions. This is The House of Whispers and The Shape of Darkness. And yeah, there's 1 or 2 others I'd like to grab. So they're not overly long books. But yeah, I mean, I just could not, that was a page turner. I just could not put it down. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading more of her books. And then there's this duology that I read, and the first book is At the Sign of the Sugar Plum, and the second one is Petals in the Ashes, and these are by Mary Hooper. So I believe these are YA fictions, but the first one took place during London and during the plague in the 1600s. So yeah, there's lots of plagues. 13th century and the 16th century one were the major ones. But yeah, this young girl lives in the country with her family, and her sister runs a bake shop in London. So she goes there to help her sister, and then the plague arrives. And then a year later, there's the Great Fire of London in 1666, which basically burned down a large part of London. So yeah, living during that time, having plague one year and then a fire the next. I mean, I just can't imagine. So yeah, it follows this young girl and her adventures during the plague and Great Fire of London. So yeah, these were quick little reads. They were YA fiction, but they were certainly eye-opening about the daily occurrences, how they cope with the plague and the fire and that. So yeah, they were interesting reads there. So yeah, so that's my wrap up for this month. Oh, I forgot to grab my book. what I'm reading right now. 2 seconds. I'm not very organized here. So this is the second book I started this month, and it's by E.S. Thompson, and it's Dark Asylum. And E.S. Thompson is actually has a PhD in medical history. So yeah, medical history, I'm right there, and it takes place in Victorian England in the 1850s. Again, so yeah, I'm just eating up this series. So this is the second book in the series. So Jem Flockhart is the main character, who's an apothecary, and she is a woman, but they're not allowed to become apothecaries, or they just basically make the drugs from plants and that sort of thing and supply the hospital. And so she has disguised herself as a man since childhood because she was the only child, and her father was the apothecary, and she wanted to carry on that, so she has to disguise herself as a man. And it's so atmospheric, like, oh, you feel like you're in that dark, smoggy London of the 1850s. It's so atmospheric. I really do like the characters. There's usually a murder mystery involved, and yeah, I really, really enjoy this series. So I'm about halfway through that. So I do have, there's 5 books in this series, and I just got the last one from Amazon, so that this is the second book. But yeah, I just really, really enjoying that series. So that's it. That's what I read in March. So yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. Happy Easter weekend, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.